Welcome back, Retronauts, and today's video is going to be a little bit less formal than normal. I'm not going to be talking about any particular microcomputer in particular. What I want to do today is give you an update on the status of the channel and the fruition of something which I've wanted to get in place for a very long time, probably about 10 years. I'm going to tease you a little bit. I'm not going to tell you outright straight away what it is. But I'm going to actually outline to you what the problem is, and then it'll make a bit more sense what I'm talking about. So when I was working on the Windows XP computer, this was a while back, I got a hold of this Zotac card. And the reason why I needed this particular card was it's a very short form factor which would fit into that PC because it has a massive heatsink, which would get in the way of anything that we kind of consider these days to be sort of like, normal length of graphics card. The problem is that this card came with a bracket. I'll show you the bracket in place. There's the bracket. I'll just hold that up for you to see. And when I went to put it in the machine, this card goes into the last slot in the machine, and it's a double width bracket, which meant that this part of the bracket here actually went into a slot that doesn't exist on that particular PC. So my only real solution really to getting this into the machine and using it was to take the bracket off. I did actually try cutting off a tab here at the top part of the bracket to actually make it fit, but I quickly realized it was a losing battle. I was hoping that this would actually slide behind the rear of the case, but it wouldn't do it because of the the design. So I gave up on that. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem that I need to fix, because if I try and plug, say, a DVI cable into this, it actually pushes on this, and the only thing holding it in place is a little bracket on the motherboard, and that's not very good. It's not a good situation to find itself in at all. So that's one issue. Issue number two, this is a Commodore 64 Sidekick cartridge. Right now, it's a little bit bare bones. Let me bring that a little bit closer so you can see it. That is, as I said, for a Commodore 64. It's a very, very capable cartridge. I wanted this for myself. And so what I did was I ordered these from PCBWay, our channel sponsors. And when it came back, they all look fantastic. Everything is soldered in place, as you can see here. So this is an example of not just picking a project, but also actually getting PCBWay to do the majority of the work. There is actually some stuff left on here that needs to be done before it's finished. There's a connector that needs to go here. And the other problem, of course, is it's missing a case. This piece of foam here actually holds up an OLED screen here. And it's pretty fragile. It's basically just a bunch of risers there, and the screen plugs in there. So really, without a case, this is unusable really. So yeah, I need to do something to finish this off. And there's one other problem. I'll show you this. Off camera here to the right, we have an IBM 5150 PC. And I bought that about 3 years ago now. Not actually got round to repairing it yet. Planning to hopefully tackle that this December, which is just coming up in about a week and a half. When I bought it, it didn't have a monitor, so then I set out to try and find somebody with a monitor. I did find somebody selling one in the local area, and when I went to collect it, the monitor wasn't in as good a condition as I was hoping it was going to be. On the top of it, there are two plastic inserts, which then have screws underneath, and you have to take those out, and then take the screws out, and then that allows you to disassemble the monitor. Well, the owner of it obviously had done that in the past, and those plastic pieces were missing. And I asked him, could I have them when I bought it? And he didn't know where they were. They were long gone. So even if I can get that monitor repaired, it's going to be cosmetically imperfect because it's going to have these two sort of holes in the top, as you can see. So that's obviously an issue. Yeah, so that needs to be fixed as well. So you can probably guess where this is going. So off camera, I have something to show you. So let's change views and have a look at that now. So this is it. This is, well, you can see for yourself, it's a 3D printer. It's a Bambu Labs H2D, one of the current sort of best of class 3D printers out there, at least on a sort of hobbyist budget. I must admit, I've never actually owned a 3D printer before. I've really wanted to have one for about easily about 10 years now, I think, altogether. I was interested in them as soon as they came out, but at the time I was working in a smaller location in my house in a, well, what used to be a garage, and this house was built in the 1930s, so it was built for a time when cars were absolutely tiny. So it was about 6 foot wide, 2 meters wide, something like that. And there just wasn't room in there to have a 3D printer. I did have room for a normal printer, you know, for printing office work and things like that, but never really had the space to have a 3D printer. Time moved on, and then eventually I started doing the channel, and then my budget was basically all being used to buy retro computers, monitors, you know, pieces of equipment for them, things like that. So I never really got the budget together to get one of these. Then the cabin came along, and that's put me in quite a bit of debt, basically, to try and get this built, because I wanted it to be, you know, something really usable. So it needed to have really good electrics and really good heating. So, you know, it's got electrical underfloor heating, and I think it's like 32 plus electrical sockets, which isn't enough. So this arrived yesterday. And it's very heavy, I've got to say. It says on the box over 35 kilos. And it says on it it's very advisable, actually. It does say team lift for your safety. So yeah, it's basically advising you not to lift this on your own. I'm a relatively macho chap on occasion, so I did try to lift it myself, but yeah, it's a bit of a hernia maker. So I decided to bravely run away. And I asked my wife if she would give me a hand, so we carried it here together, and she helped me to get it onto the table. Now then, this is not where I wanted to be. I actually wanted to be in the corner of the room next to my repair workstation. When I built this cabin, this table was actually from over there. It's movable. It has casters on the bottom of it, which is why I've actually put it onto here, because once I've got this unboxed and set up and working, I can literally wheel it over there and then hopefully shufty it along and put it onto the table where it's meant to be in the long term. I've got 3 spools of plastic. I've got black PLA. I've got white PLA. I thought both of those were relatively neutral, would allow me to print some things which hopefully I can do something with. I probably do need to buy another spool. I may actually do that on Monday. Today is actually Saturday. Because I do have this one here. This is PETG, and it's translucent. So I'm hoping to print the Sidekick 64 cartridges with this once I get myself into gear. I'm obviously not going to use this until I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to probably practice printing cartridges with this white PLA. And then when I'm happy that the cartridge is coming out the way I want it to, I'll transfer over to the transparent material. Swapping materials on this is going to be a little bit easier because it has the something management system. But basically, it's a system where you can put these spools into it. These will be then heated by it if you need to dry them out. Because from what I understand, if filament gets damp, it kind of makes sense. If it's damp and then you heat it up very quickly in the process of it being extruded to make the 3D print, I guess that moisture can expand quickly into steam and cause lumps and so on and so forth on the actual print. So I've got an AMS system. I've actually got the high temperature AMS system as well, which may seem like a little bit of a luxury, but I managed to get this because it's Black Friday at the moment, Black Friday week, and bambulabs have a really fantastic deal on at the moment where it was about, altogether about £300 off. And the high temperature AMS system was only £100 more. And when it compared to I think this was about 1,600, and was it? I think maybe 1,400. And then I think with the AMS, it went up to about 1,600. I'll put the prices on screen so you can see exactly what I paid for it. And then I thought, considering I'm spending this much on it, I may as well get the high temperature AMS system as well. That's actually for materials more like carbon fiber. And I'm wondering whether I should get some carbon fiber and then I can print the bracket for that graphics card in carbon fiber. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe PETG would be strong enough. I don't know, because I don't know how to use a 3D printer yet. That's why I'm telling you about this, so you can sort of join me on that journey. But I'm very, very excited that, you know, Black Friday came around and a change in my circumstances financially has sort of made this possible just in time for Christmas 2025. So I'm going to be a lucky boy this year, which is great. I have, by the way, economized massively this year. Don't think that this is like just a sort of frivolous thing to buy. I've really, really not spent any money this year, and I've economized massively on everything. So yeah, it took a lot of effort to actually get this. So I'm very happy that I've been able to afford it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap it, unpackage it, I should say. It's not really wrapped, is it? I'm going to unbox it. I'll record that. I'm not sure if you want to see that. I think it'll probably be a little bit long-winded, and you know, there might be a bit of me scratching my head. But I hope you will join me on the other side of that process, and we will see with it all set up what it looks like. And hopefully I'll be able to do a test print as well. So that'd be pretty cool. And I think, you know, that'll be enough for this video. Okay, well, anyway, all of that said, let me start unboxing this wonderful thing. But before we do that, let's have a quick word from our sponsor, PCBWay. Ho, 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 it's that time of year again. PCBWay have their Christmas sale on. Why not pop over to their website right now, where they have purple, matte black, and pink solder masks, all as free upgrades. Just scroll down the page because you'll find coupons there. First come, first served. Get them now, get those discounts. So if you need 3D printing, CNC machining, or PCBWay manufacture, why not pop over to PCBWay right now, because whether it's PCB prototyping, PCB assembly, 3D printing, or even CNC machining, PCBWay is the way. Starting with an instant quote for your PCB projects, PCBWay will leap into action, building your PCB, assembling it for you if you wish, and once it's passed their quality tests, it'll be winging its way to you in a flash. PCBWay, PCB prototyping the easy way. So I did actually record the entire process. I was originally planning to show that in this video, but even at 5 times speed, it takes about 10 minutes to go through the entire unboxing. So what I'll do is instead, I'll just highlight some of the more interesting things that I found as I unboxed the machine. So as soon as you take the main lid off, there's a large piece of styrofoam with a thin box on top, as you can see. And that's actually quite cool. That contains tools which are involved in the unboxing process. So it's important that you open there's a little box there called tools, and in there you have like an Allen key which allows you to remove stuff later. This part of the process, I probably overthought it a bit. I thought the machine was too heavy for me to lift, really. So I started to break the bottom of the box to allow me to sort of pull the machine out sideways. But then I realized after a while, I thought it was probably just worth trying to lift it, putting my arms around the machine. And when I did that, I could actually lift it. So then, obviously then, I could get the machine out of the bottom of the box. So at this point, there's a lot of tape to take off. And as you can see, I'm valiantly battling with the tape to get into the machine. And once I get the door open, it's a bit of a surprise, because inside you've actually got the AMS system inside the machine. And obviously that would be quite dangerous while it's being transported, because it could rattle around and damage things. So what Bambu Labs have done, rather cunningly, is they've got these plastic brackets, and it's actually physically held in place with screws and very rigid plastic brackets. That means it's completely rigid when it's being posted, nothing's going to move around. So at this point in the process, you have to get out your tools, find the Allen keys, and then you start having to remove these various nuts. So you can then remove the brackets and then of course get the AMS out of the inside of the machine. So at this point, it looks like I've pretty much got all of the nuts out. I'm removing the brackets which hold things in place, and I can now effectively birth the AMS, pull it out of its mother. There you go. There's the AMS out of the machine. So at this point, there are still 2 brackets left in the bottom of the machine, which actually sat underneath the AMS unit. They need to be removed. Quite laborious, quite difficult to get into those little corners, but I did beaver away, and after a while, I did manage to get those brackets out. And at this point, I'm just laboriously trying to get out 2 bolts at the back of the machine that hold the hotbed in place at the bottom. And eventually I do manage to get those out, and now I'm looking around in the machine to try and get out pieces of foam, pieces of tape, all being used to hold the machine in place while it's being shipped. Got to say, overall, I was very, very impressed with the way this machine was packed. They've obviously got a lot of experience in shipping these pretty heavy devices with some pretty relatively, fragile parts inside, plastic and so on and so forth. But everything arrived in perfect condition, and it was relatively intuitive as well to actually remove all of the packaging. So yeah, overall, I would say I was very impressed with the way that this machine was actually packaged. And finally, at this stage, there's a box here. You can see that inside there is some, I think it's plate glass. So obviously that's why it's been packaged up pretty carefully by Bambu. And this is the top of the machine. And this particular day, it was a Friday, and I had a social event that I had to go to with my wife. Very nice. And so I thought this was a good point to take a break, go out, enjoy myself. And then I would come back the following day, a Saturday, and then carry on putting the machine together. Now, the next stage is to put on the AMS, which is the system which stores the filaments. That sits on top of the machine. So let me get that. And the other thing is there's actually some tape on the back of the machine, and also the key, which is called the safety key. So let's get that off. So that's the safety key. And then there's a strip of tape at the back which actually holds the ventilation slats closed. So we need to take that off as well. There we go. And let me get rid of this tape. So this safety key has to go in the back of the machine. It's like a dead man's key, I think. Don't know quite how it works, but it's just basically a jumper. So let's find that. It's towards the bottom of the machine. Right then, let's get all the protection off here. Ooh, that really is very squeaky. There we are. And there's a little bit more on each end. Let's just take that off. And this one as well. Good. Now inside, it's a bag taped inside. There we are. And inside here, we've got two of the filament tubes, and also the power cable. So let's just put that here. From what I understand, there is a long tube, and that's for the AMS. And then this short tube is for the side bracket. So let me just undo this power cable and we'll get it ready. Let's see. It's quite short. It's not the longest cable. So let's just plug this in. Okay, so that's plugged in. So hopefully that should be okay, ready to go. Let me put this in one of these. So let's just put this in here. Let's do the first turning on the machine. That would be quite cool to see, wouldn't it? So we're on the back, power switch. Hear the kind of fan coming on. I guess there's a computer in here somewhere, isn't there? Maybe in there. Let's open the door for you. There we are. So this has come on. There's a light there, some kind of initialization sound. Okay, select language, English. I'm in Europe. Next, Wi-Fi. Okay, for this, I'm going to have to set this up. So let's go for this one here. And okay, it's paired up. Let's carry on. Next, I need to agree to the terms and conditions. Agree. User experience, so I can either join or I can skip it. Made sure that those are out. They are. So it's just asking me to verify that I've taken those. As we saw, that took quite a while to take out earlier, but they are removed. And calibrate for lower noise and better print quality. Yeah, 31 minutes. Okay, start that. And there are two pieces of foam underneath here, so I need to remove those when this bed lifts up, as far as I understand. There we go. Get those out. And now we just need to leave it do this calibration process, which takes about 30 minutes. I'll leave it recording and I'll speed it up for you so you can actually see that. But yeah, I'm just going to basically sit back and relax. So this is a first time setup of the machine, and obviously there needs to be a very large calibration process that it needs to go through. I must admit, I did sit there and watch it, and it did take a good 30 minutes. It wasn't particularly interesting, lots of repetitive motions. At this point, I realized how much the machine shakes when the print head moves. So that was quite interesting to see how physical it is, you know, how much acceleration and how much the mass of that head actually moves the machine around. But after about 30 minutes, it had gone through all of its motions, and we were ready for the next step. So it's been through the calibration process. That took half an hour in total. Since then, I've actually used the drying feature on the AMS. I mean, that's one of the main reasons to have it, I suppose, is that it has the ability to protect the filament from moisture, and then also to heat and therefore dry the filament. Because if you get moisture in your filament, as far as I understand it, that starts to basically vaporize as it comes out through the nozzle, which is very hot, and causes the steam basically to appear, and that damages the extrusion as it happens. I've been running it for about half an hour. It started off saying the humidity in the chamber was about 24%. It said that the temperature in the chamber was about 50%. And since then, it's been at 55 degrees Celsius, and the humidity has gone down to 24%, and it seems to have stabilized. So I'm assuming that the amount of actual humidity in the chamber isn't really that high. I don't know, because I've never done any printing before. So I think we should just go ahead and try printing. Now, to do that, I need to stop it, and I need to refeed the filaments back into their holders, because to do the drying, you have to stop them doing that. So I'm going to click on stop here. It says that it's stopping. There we are. And it's saying that I'm on 24%. So I'm assuming that when I open this up, obviously the percentage of moisture will go up a little bit. So let's open that up. And I'm going to try printing the benchy in white. So let's rotate this around until I can see where the filament is. There it is. Let's get this out. Okay, and I'm going to feed this in here again. Just push that like that. Ooh, look at that. Automatically did it. Let's do the same with this one as well. And this one as well. Actually made it sound a bit like one of those droids from Star Wars, the little sort of Hoover droids. Okay, so let's just do this one as well. Oh, interesting. The humidity dropped to 21, so I guess the moisture was being kept inside here. Does it have ventilation? Not particularly. Interesting. Okay, so I'm assuming that when I opened up the top, warm air came out and a lot of the moisture actually came out of the chamber. So I'm going to go to Home, Print Files, and let's go to Speedboat, the benchy, the typical benchy that everyone does. Let's see what it says here. Bed leveling and flow calibration in auto mode now. To click OK. Okay. Time lapse, yes. Let's have a look at that. Turn that on. I guess I need to have some kind of USB key plugged in, do I? Try this one here. Not sure if this is formatted in the right format for it, but let's give it a go. It's flashing, okay. So USB, no available files, okay. Internal. Time-lapse is turned on now, so I assume that because I have this plugged in, I can save a video of this when it's actually doing its thing. What do I have to do? Texture, plate, yeah, nozzle 0.4, right 0.4, time-lapse, creative tools, blah, blah, blah. Next. Right extruder, PLA, that one, yeah, that's okay. That's great. Print. Okay, well, let's see what happens. The top opened here, the vent. And what I might do is once it starts printing, I might bring you in a bit closer so you can see what's going on. Showing the temperature of the nozzle going up 53 degrees Celsius. Oh, that's the bed, I guess. The bed is 53 degrees. And we just sit back and watch. It's showing the right nozzle as being 220 degrees Celsius. It says it's cleaning the nozzle tip. Auto bed leveling. It says it's going to print. Let's bring you in a bit closer. Got to say, it's remarkable watching it for the first time. It's amazing how detailed it is. You know, how tiny the extrusions are. Looks like it's about halfway there. The floor in my cabin has floorboards and underneath joists, and because of that it's not incredibly stable. It's not a concrete floor, let's put it that way. And the printer is so violent in its movements that it's actually transferring that vibration through the floor to the tripod of the camera, and that's why the camera is actually appearing to move so much. It's a combination of the printer moving and then the camera moving in sympathy as well. So yeah, sorry about that. Not really much I can do about it, to be honest. 70% done. That's amazing. Looks like it's about halfway there. So far it looks pretty good. 60% done. Now, as it's printing away, I can see on the screen that there's a little robot face, sad face, so it looks like there's something wrong. I don't quite understand because the print seems to be going ahead well. So I'll wait for it to finish and then we'll have a look at that and see what's going on. It's getting into the end game here, 84% working on the roof. It's like the roof might be hollow actually. Slightly hollow. Now it's filling it in. There's a slight gradient on the roof. That's quite tricky, isn't it? This is a little chimney. 93%, I guess that's it. Chimney and it's done. It's very, very cool actually watching it happen for the first time. Yeah, it's pretty amazing seeing it in person. I wonder how long I have to leave it cool down for before I should take it out. Should I leave it for a few minutes? There is a little kit that comes with it actually to make a scraper as well, so I guess I should have printed that first. But it seemed more fun to do the boat, obviously. But I need to 3D print the scraper, which would have been maybe useful to take this off, at least that string of filament there that it did just to clean itself just before it started printing. 98%. And it's done. Okay, let's get the benchy out and have a look at it. I'm assuming I can just go in there and grab it. We'll soon find out. It's warm, but it's not overly hot. And can I just snap this off? Yes, I can. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's shut this and I can show this to you. Hopefully you can see it clearly there. Can we get this in focus? Yeah, about here. So there we go. I'll just rotate a few. The prow of the ship is the bit which I find sometimes has a little bit of detail missing. That actually looks pretty good to me. Little bit of a mismatch there maybe. But this has some stepping in it. I assume that's normal. And yeah,
I mean, it's pretty good. A little bit of stringing here. I could see that happening when it was printing, but I can just scuff that off. But I think that looks pretty smart, I've got to say. And I think there are techniques actually to improve the quality of this again, which is something I'm going to have to learn. I'm on something on a learning curve now, but the good thing is I can obviously take advantage of other people's experience doing 3D printing, which means I should be able to learn relatively quickly. So yeah, that's looking pretty cool. I've done my first 3D print. Okay, well, I think that's it. We're done for today. I've got my first 3D print. The H2D worked perfectly out of the box. The AMS worked really well. I may actually spend some time drying this filament a little bit more just to make sure that it is super, super dry. Apparently you're meant to leave it at 55 degrees for like 5 hours, but I obviously wasn't willing to wait that long before I could actually do my first 3D print. And what's next? Well, I need to print out that scraper. That's a kind of standard thing that you get with these. So you can obviously get things off, which are a little bit more adhered to the plate. I obviously need to learn how to do 3D modeling using 3D printing software. I need to find out what's the best software to get, and then obviously learn up on that. I'm pretty experienced with 3D Studio Max. I also knew Maya to a certain degree back in the day, although really out of the two, I was more proficient with 3ds Max, but you know, it's all pretty much the same kind of thing really. I'm not sure if there is free software that I can use. That would be preferable just to keep the costs of things down. I'm really happy with the quality of this. I must admit it's really good. And now I need to start working on my little projects because there's obviously the IBM 5150, those little things that we need to put in the top there. I need to print the bracket for that graphics card, and then I think I'll do it in that order because it feels to me like that's the level of complexity that I should do it in. That seems like the simplest thing, the IBM 5150. I think the bracket for the graphics card will be the second most difficult thing to do, and then I think the cartridge is, you know, the cartridge cases for the Sidekick for the 64. That would be the most difficult thing to do. And the reason why it's going to be difficult is that I want to do a custom design for that. So I don't want to just take an existing design and use it as is. I want to customize that design and put maybe a little Retronaut logo in it in 3D. I possibly may even try printing it in 2 colors. I'm not sure what that would be. Maybe clear and white. That would be quite interesting actually. But yeah, we'll have to see. I'll have to have a look at that and see how possible that is. It'd be quite nice if I could get the text on it in white with the, I mean, I could do a 3-color print, I suppose. I could do black infill and then white text and then the rest of it translucent. That would be pretty zhoosh. Although I would imagine printing the black part would be quite difficult because you'd have black and white together. That would be probably quite slow. So yeah, I'll have to do some research into that. Maybe try printing that little bit out in isolation just to see how that goes. So that'd be pretty interesting. Anyway, as I said, a bit of an informal video this. I just thought I would do it to let you know that I've got a 3D printer. And hope you enjoyed it. And let me know what you think. But anyway, until the next video, take care. And I'll see you then. Take care.